demo for you today is the Stripology Extra Large. And we've done this once before, but we wanted to do it again because for a couple reasons. We have a class coming up, and we wanted to show you, give you a little sneak peek in case you want to sign up for the class. And also because, I'm sorry, it's one of the best tools I own. Nearly every pattern I've ever done, and Lord knows I've done a million of them, requires strips of some kind. Even paper piecing. You were cutting strips and then cutting your pieces from those strips. Binding. We've all, well, most of us have bound our own quilts, and you need strips. And I'll tell you, those queen size bindings take a ton of strips. So I want to show you how to do your binding strips fast. This is not all this tool does. This tool does a lot of other things, which is what the class is for also. But I want to show you how to do your binding strips with the Stripology Extra Large. Now, there are four Stripologies now. You probably can't see this because it's clear. But there are four Stripologies. They started out with the very first one, which was smaller than this, but still rectangular. Then she came out, and I may have the order on this a little goofed up, but she came out with a mini, and we've demoed that, and we have a number of patterns that are specifically written for the Stripology mini, and we've demoed those too, but we still have plenty in case you want them. And then she came out, or somewhere in there, she came out with what's called the Stripology Squared. And my friends that just took the class, Amelia Quilt with Brenda, got a chance to use the Stripology Squared. And the reason she came out with that is it was longer than the regular Stripology. Not as wide, but a lot longer, taller, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. So everybody was saying, hey, we love that, but we want that in a wider one. So she came out with Stripology Extra Large, to the point that you can still get the regular Stripologies, but I wouldn't. If you don't own one, I would go for the Stripology Extra Large. Does that fit in her case? Yes, it fits in the can we get those cases? Can I show them? Okay, let me show you. I'll keep demoing, and then I'll show you the case that she has created to put these in. It actually fits very nicely in it. So what I want to show you is how to do your strips. Okay? Now, you're going to want to do a couple things. You're going to want to take your fabric, and you're going to want to give it a good press. But you know what? I do this anyway when I am cutting my fabric. I want a nice press so you don't get those ripples in there and cause a problem with your strips. So what you are going to do is you are going to take it. Okay, I've got the fold down here, the selvage is up here, and I'm going to fold it in half. You're going to want to make sure when you are pressing it that your selvages are straight. Okay, because it just seems like lately the way fabric's coming off the bolt is it's cockeyed. Well, not that bad, but it's cockeyed or whatever. You're going to want to make sure it's straight. And you can do that while you're pressing it. And if it's not, repress it so that you've got a nice straight edge. To make sure I'm straight, I'm going to take this fold and put it right at the bottom of that selvage. That way I know that I'm straight, because I've straightened it out and I want it nice and flat. See, I didn't even get all these little wrinkles out, but they won't cause a problem. It's the big ripples and the foldovers that cause a problem. Now, you may be saying, but wait a minute, there's a chunk gone, because this was the end of the bolt. I took the first cut off the bolt. So, but that's okay. We're all right, because you would straighten up your edge anyway, and Stripology is going to give you the opportunity to do that. So I'm going to lay my ruler down, and there are numerous lines, and I don't know if they show up well. You will notice I'm using a mat that's blank on the back, because, and those are hard to find, because you don't want competition with your lines. You know, am I looking at this line? Am I looking at that line? So I always use a map that's blank. Okay. There are dark lines, dark black lines, solid. There are white lines. There are lighter black lines. This one also allows you to square things up. Again, multiple uses for this tool. You've got multiple degree lines going up and down. You have numbers across the bottom. The whole numbers are large and in circles, and the halves are in between. Those are your slits. You will also notice you have stars and squares. The stars are at exactly 1.5 every time. So you don't even have to count for those of us who hate fractions. Okay. The squares are 2.5. So if you're doing 2.5-inch strips, all you got to do is follow the squares. You don't have to count it every time. Say, okay, 2.5, then 5, then 7, and I don't know about you, but sometimes I get distracted and I don't count correctly. So what I am going to do, you have teardrops at either end. That's for you to get your cutter in there. Stripology extra large, you can use up to. I wouldn't use smaller than a 45 because you have to go down between these slits. Okay? You can use a 60, but you got to be very careful on the ends that you're getting in far enough. If your fabric is short enough, I even suggest you come down to the white line. And the white line, which is actually going up the side at a half, the white line is the same width all the way across as opposed to this black line, because this black line is to help you square off. And then it becomes thin down here. So if you're not in the right spot, you might not be straight. Where the white line, you can straighten it out. And you will see, hopefully, that I have plenty of room. Here's my teardrops up here. That's the beauty of the extra large. With the regular one, the older one, you wouldn't have much room. Okay? So I have lined up my white line, which is actually at the half vertical line. Okay? It's not marked. It's just a white line halfway between 0 and 1. I am hanging over because remember I had that chunk missing up here? So I want to square this off, which again I would do anyway. So I'm going to start at 0. I always call it zeroing out. I guess I worked with calculators too long, or adding machines. I call it zeroing it out. I'm going to angle it and put it in the slit. I'm in the slit, and I'm going to push forward. I will tell you, life is a lot easier in all situations when cutting with a brand new blade. Okay? So my 0 is gone. I'm going to violate all the rules and show you I have a clean cut. Normally, you do not move anything until you're done cutting. The mistakes occur in cutting when you're moving your material constantly or your ruler. Here, I'm going to be able to go full width here or length. This is probably width, but anyway, I'm going to be able to go all the way moving my. So I stand a much better chance of getting consistent strips. Okay? I'm going to go 2.5 just because I can use this for binding. And I know some of you use 2 1/4. We'll talk about that. But I'm going to show you 2.5. The other thing is, let's say you want to do a quilt that requires a jelly roll, but you can't find a jelly roll that you like. You can cut your own jelly roll. Okay? Fast. All right. So I'm going to do my strips, and I need a bunch. So I'm doing them at 2.5. I'm going to follow my squares. So first square is right here. Cut. Cut. I'm just following squares. I'm not looking at numbers at all. I'm just going with my squares, which is awesome. Look how fast I'm going. And I'm still talking, but that's nothing new. All right. So I just made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cuts. I have 8 strips. I can pick up my ruler and look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Done. Okay, that is fast. I didn't have to move a ruler. I didn't have to watch my numbers. I didn't have to worry about putting my hand on it and it slides when I get up here because I'm pushing too hard. I've been doing that a lot lately. I don't know why. So you're saying, but I need more than 8. Okay, start again. Bring your fabric down. Chances are, if all went well, you don't need to hit the 0 line again. Now, you have moved your fabric, so you're going to want to make sure it's straight again. But this time, when I put it down, it's really crooked, but it doesn't matter because you're going to line this up the right way. Right here is my 0 line. All I have to do is push down on that and push it against my fabric, and it's lined up. I'm going to take it down to the 1, and I'm ready to do 8 more. Just like that. Voila! Now, if you're saying, but I use 2 1/4, that can be done. And I can show you that in the class. You can also see it in the directions for the Stripology. It just involves 2 cuts. You make a series of cuts the first time, move it a hair off, do your next set of cuts, you got 2 1/4 inch strips. You can do it with everything. So you can also do diamonds with this, hexagons with this. You can do, and we're going to show you all that in the class if you're interested. So the class is this Tuesday, this coming up Tuesday from 5:30 to 8:30. And if you're interested, you can call or you can sign up online and pay online. So you can either call, give us a credit card, and you can get signed up for the class. We'll give you, what you need to bring, which is basically fabric for strips. And you can come in and pay always, or you can pay online on the website. Okay?
So we have a question about the ruler.
Yes.
Is there something on the back of the ruler that keeps it from slipping?
It is a true Creative Grids. Okay, it was created by Creative Grids and Gudrun Erla with GE Designs. It just completely went out of my head there. So it does have grippies on the back. So when you do this and you're cutting, I should have done this when I cut. All you have to do is keep 2 fingers here and cut. And then as you're moving down, move them down. Don't put them over the slots that you're going to be cutting on. That would get ugly and you'll bleed all over. It's ugly. So, but you don't have to reef on it. You don't have to keep it with your finger over here from slide. It's not going anywhere. It's going to stay put. And you're just going to cut, and you're all done. It's an amazing tool, and it does more than strips. That's the big thing. But if you've had to cut a whole bunch of strips, I did my own jelly roll for my mother's quilt, my mother's jelly roll rug, 66 strips, and did them, bam, very quickly. So keep that in mind. We have a class coming up, and that's it. Oh, I want to show you the case. Okay. So these are called Totology because they will carry the Stripology. On this side, you have a nice big pocket right here. This one was made for, hey Tara, I've got all mine over there if you want. This fits right in there and zips up. So you're good. On this side, it will hold your, oh, look at that. Hang on. It's also got a place for a water bottle. This is the squared. So the squared fits there. The mini will fit here. Okay. Mine's all in there. Yes. Depending on your cutter, you can do 4 to 8. I think you're pushing it with 8. But it will, I've done 8 with a 60-degree cutter, 60 millimeter cutter. If you're using a 45, which I strongly recommend, I would go about 4 layers. This is the mini, and that fits in right there. And then you have room up here for your cutter or whatever. And your water bottle. And on top of that, you can put stuff in here. Okay? When I take mine, I do all this, because of course I have them all. I do all this. I don't actually put the water bottle in there. You could also put other things that you needed in here, but this does not fasten on top. Okay? I have the original one, and I put that in here, just in case I want to do something smaller.
And you could put your mat in there. Right?
You could put your mat in there. Oh, that's a good idea. I don't know if this mat will fit, but you could put a mat in there. Okay? Yeah, I think this mat will fit. Let's see. I may be wrong on live TV. Here we go. Nope, I'm not wrong. Look at that. And you're good to go. You got everything you need. And we have these in the store. We have red and purple.
That would be also a good tool just for storing them, so you always know where they are.
They are, at my house, they're in here. Sometimes they hang on the wall if I'm going to be doing a lot, so I can just reach over and get them. But when I go to retreats, and I've been to a number of them in the last 2 months, I have mine, and I keep them in there all the time until I need them, and then store them back in. And actually, I put other stuff in here too, because I have other mats and things like that. So, excellent carrier, excellent tool. So, are there any other questions? I'd be happy to answer them for you. I'm going to take my stuff out of here so I don't leave it with Tara. And we're good to go. If you have any more questions, please ask. I'm just going to set this down now. And we are going to slide right into classes. It's a good segue.